Hi, hello, and welcome to the live read along of Wuthering Heights. And today we are reading chapter 6. Chapter 6. Um, we have last week we have read chapter 1 to 5. So each day I read one chapter. Each day of the week I read one chapter, and we either I comment on a specific aspect of the passage that I'm reading, or it is because yes, there is a comment or a vocabulary uh, comment that I want to do on the text. But then, hi Kitty, hi. I'm sorry, I'm super late today, but I'm gonna try to do a quick live. Hi. I was stuck in traffic. It was it's just today, I think there was a car crash or something. And then after that, there were some trucks or like tractors because there were some farmers who were demonstrating today. So that was double traffic because of these two. So I'm glad I'm finally home and I'm able to do this live. Um, so I was saying then this hello. Layla's shadow. Hello, welcome to this live. Um, I'm doing a live reading of Wuthering Heights, in case you just discovering this live. So I'm an English teacher, and I like to teach English through the reading of stories. And I like to do live readings of adaptations of classics of English literature, or adaptations of contemporary novels. So we are currently reading, this month of March, we are currently reading a classic, an adaptation of this classic of English literature. Nice to see you. I just listening to you. Oh, great. Welcome. I'm glad that you are happy to be here. Oh, that is terrible. We also had farm protests in Hanover. Yeah, it's still going on. Yes, so I also have a book club, so I'm doing live readings of the chapters. So every day I read one chapters, and today we will write one chapter, sorry. And today we are reading chapter 6. And each week on Saturday morning, I host a Zoom live to be able for my members to be able to practice their English and exchange what they thoughts on the book, but also on the chapters that we have read over the week. So that's the concept. So if you think that's something that you would like to join, then you've got the links on my bio. If you have any questions, please, by all means, ask me any questions. We'll be happy to answer you, whether here in the comments or on private messages. So I'm going to do a quick recap. I don't know if you know this novel. It's written by Emily Bronte. She is one of the 3 Bronte sisters. They are all writers. Charlotte Bronte is known for the novel called Jane Eyre. There are lots of adaptations of this novel. film adaptation, I mean. And then there is Anne Bronte. She's a bit less known. She wrote The Tenant of Whitefell Hall. Maybe that rings a bell. Or she wrote Agnes Grey as well. And Emily Bronte wrote Wuthering Heights. And this is her only novel. After that, she only published short stories, and she wrote poems a lot as well. But she's famously known for Wuthering Heights. So this is the story of the main story is this love story between Heathcliff and Catherine. But at the beginning of the novel, we discover this character, Mr. Lockwood, who is the new tenant of Thrushcross Grange. So tenant is the word for someone who is living in a house or an apartment, and he's paying a rent to a landlord, to the owner of the house. So it's not his own, he's not the owner of the house. He pays the rent to a landlord to stay in the house. And he just arrived, and his landlord is called Mr. Heathcliff, and he's not very nice, not very welcoming. When he comes to, when Mr. Lockwood go to him to introduce himself, he's not very well received at Wuthering Heights, because Mr. Heathcliff lives in another house in nearby, and it's called Wuthering Heights, the title of this book. So the title of this book is the name of a house, and wuthering is that means the whisper of the not the whisper, sorry, the blowing in the wind on the moor. So it's very lyrical, and it's a beautiful name. And the landscape of, so the story is based in Yorkshire, England, in the north. It's the north of England, a region in the north of England. And the landscape is basically hills, very green, and a couple of trees, very isolated area. It's the countryside, and you can see a little different cottage. If you can picture, if you have a little bit of images from England and this little cottage. So this house is not a cottage. Well, maybe it's not a cottage, but it's quite a big house. Those two houses, and they're quite big, and it's winter at the time, and the wet and the and it's very hard. The environment in Yorkshire in winter is very harsh, because it's cold and there is a lot of wind, and it's quite isolated as well. So not many people around. So Mr. Lockwood meets this Mr. Heathcliff, his landlord, and he's very curious, or is very intrigued by the fact that he doesn't understand why this man is so angry and quite aggressive to his to the members, because there are other people living with Mr. Heathcliff. And he's quite aggressive when he's talking to the people that lives with him and the servants as well. So that's the first encounter. So it's Mr. Lookwood who is the narrator in the story. Hi, Melissa. And then he asks Nelly, his housekeeper. So the housekeeper is someone that's going to take care of the house, of your house. So this person is going to make sure that dinner is ready, that that she's gonna do the cleaning and everything. So she's called the housekeeper. She's taking care of the house and everything that goes with it. So Nelly is the housekeeper of Thrushcross Grange, where Mr. Lockwood lives, and he is going to ask her to tell him more about. Hello, Nono. Tell him more about Mr. Heathcliff and his story. And this is where Nelly becomes the new narrator in the story. So it's a story within the story. And she's going to start telling the story of Mr. Heathcliff and how it's been adopted by the Earnshaw family. So he's going to live and grow up with Catherine and Hindley. So Catherine and Hindley are brother and sisters, and they're going to welcome this new boy that the parents are going to name Heathcliff. He's an orphan that Mr. Earnshaw, Catherine and Hindley's brother, have just has found in Liverpool. So he's going to bring this child back to their house, and they're gonna have to live together. Catherine is very happy because she really likes him. Hi, Ada, welcome. Catherine is going to be very happy and get on very well with Heathcliff. But Hindley is not going to be very nice with Heathcliff, and he's going to torture him, beat him, and being very violent. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. Today it's a very late live, but I'm gonna try to make it quick today so it doesn't last too long. How are you, Ada? I'm glad you're able to join today. I'm doing the quick recap of the 5 chapters that we have read last week. So I'm at the point where Hindley has been sent away by his dad because his dad found out that he was violent with Heathcliff. So Hindley is sent away to college to so that is he is not going to continue being mean with Heathcliff. And when he comes back, it's because his dad has died. Mr. Earnshaw dies when Catherine is 13 and Heathcliff is more or less the same age. Hope you're well too. Yes, I am. Thank you. So Hindley is coming back for the funeral, and he's going to be the new landlord of Wuthering Heights. and he's coming back with his wife, Frances. Um, and they're gonna have a little baby together. Unfortunately, Frances is going to die while giving birth of their son, Hareton, and which was something that you would happen quite often. Unfortunately, giving birth was quite a dangerous, well, could be fatal in those days. And still today, it's still happening today, less often, of course, but yeah, it was at the time very dangerous. And Mr. Inlay is going to lose his mind with the loss of his wife. He's going to start drinking and becoming even more violent and rude and aggressive with everyone in the house. And Catherine, in the meantime, yeah, Catherine is going to she is going to have this conversation with Nelly at this time, and Heathcliff is going to will hear that conversation, and he is going to hear Catherine saying to Nelly that she would never marry Heathcliff because he's not rich, he doesn't have a rank. Although she loves him very much. And Heathcliff is going to be heartbroken learning when he's going to hear that from the back door. And after that, he's going to he will decide he's going to leave Wuthering Heights. Not only he's going to be mistreated by Hindley, but also he's going to learn that Catherine is never going to marry him. So it's a double pain for him. So he's going to live Wuthering Heights, and Catherine is going to be completely devastated by the fact that he learned also this the fact that she didn't want to marry him, and she is going to hope that he will be back, but he's not going to come back. Well, we don't know if he's coming back, but she's going to wait. And after 3 years, Edgar Linton, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Linton, who used to live in Thrushcross Grange, is going to propose Catherine. And she's going to accept. She's going to accept his hand. And we stopped there in chapter 5, in which in this chapter we learn that that Catherine reveals that she's still in love with Heathcliff, and even though she accepted Edgar's hand, it will never be like Heathcliff. He would never be like loving Heathcliff. So she's going to confined in Nelly about this secret. And Nelly is going to be very shocked about what she dares to say. How can you marry someone and be in love with someone else and saying it and daring to say it? So that was the big reveal. I mean, we knew that they were very close to each other, but the words that she uses in this passage, saying that their souls, both of their soul are just the same thing. And she says, I am Heathcliff, is a very strong declaration of love, or very yeah, very powerful also. So we stop there, and now chapter 6 is Heathcliff becomes a gentleman. So let's see what who Heathcliff became, what kind of man has become Heathcliff. Okay. Now I am ill. Oh, this terrible winter. I'm tired of these dark skies and great snowy moor. The, the doctor told me it might be spring before I can go outside. But I'm happy that I have Nelly Dean to listen to. She brings my medicine to me daily, and each time she tells me a little more of her story. So that's Miss Lockwood who is speaking here. And now back to the past and Nelly's story. At first, Catherine seemed to love Mr. Linton a lot. Sometimes she was quiet and a bit sad, but she was mostly happy, and because of this, so was he. I thought they were going to be really happy, but then it ended. One warm evening in September, 6 months after Catherine and Edgar were married, I was coming from the garden with some apples when I heard a voice say, Nelly, is that you? I turned to see a tall man in dark, expensive clothes with a dark face and hair. He looked very different, like a gentleman, but his eyes were the same. What? I said. Is it really you? I went to the sitting room and told Mr. and Mrs. Linton that an old friend had come to visit. Catherine quickly went out to the hall, then came back a few minutes later and took her husband's hands in hers. Edgar, Edgar, she cried excitedly. Heathcliff is back. A few minutes later, Heathcliff entered the room. He sat down opposite Catherine, and they looked at each other with bright, excited eyes, while Mr. Linton's face was worried. Oh, Heathcliff, is this? Oh no! Oh, Heathcliff, this is like this. This is like a dream!" cried Catherine. Suddenly, she jumped forward and took his hands in hers. You have been gone for 3 years, and you never thought of me once. No more than you thought of me, replied Heathcliff roughly. Catherine, please come to the table, said her husband, and I could see he was very unhappy. Nelly, please make us some tea. Mr. Heathcliff will have a long walk home tonight, and I am thirsty. Are you staying at Gimmerton? I asked Mr. Heathcliff when I was leaving later that evening. No, he replied, surprising me. Hindley has invited me to stay at Wuthering Heights because we played cards this morning and I won. Now he knows that I have money. He's happy for me to come again. During the next 5 months, Heathcliff, or Mr. Heathcliff, I should say now, started visiting Catherine at Thrushcross Grange. At first, it was not very often, and they were quieter and both careful about showing their feelings now. This made Mr. Linton relax for a while, but then something happened that made him worry even more. Isabella Linton seemed to like Mr. Heathcliff. She was 18 years old, slim and pretty. Her brother loved her a lot, and he did not trust Mr. Heathcliff. Yes, Heathcliff had money now and expensive clothes, but Mr. Linton knew that he was not a gentleman. He had not changed inside. One cold evening in January, Catherine was in the garden when she found Mr. Heathcliff and Isabella under the trees, kissing. Then Isabella turned and quickly walked away. "What are you doing, Heathcliff?" cried Catherine. If Mr. Linton hears about this, it will stop you coming here." "Let him try," replied Mr. Heathcliff angrily. "Every day I hate him more." "Stop it," cried Catherine. "Why did you kiss her? Or did she come and kiss you first?" "Why do you care?" Mr. Heathcliff shouted. "I can kiss her if she wants to kiss me. I'm not your husband, so you can't stop me. You have betrayed me, Catherine. And if you think that I don't know it, then you're stupid. You can't trick me with sweet words. I will get my revenge on you." "You have changed so much," cried Catherine. "How have I betrayed you? But if you want to get revenge on me, then yes, kiss my husband's sister and fight with him about it. That will work." When Mr. Linton heard about Mr. Heathcliff and his sister, he was very angry, and he told Isabella that Mr. Heathcliff could not come again. After this, Isabella was very unhappy. Catherine was also very angry because she could not see Heathcliff. She stayed in her room and would not speak to her husband. Then she stopped eating, and I could see that she was becoming ill. One stormy night in early February, when the wind was blowing hard over the moor, she asked me to throw open the windows so that she could see Wuthering Heights. I was so worried that I called the doctor. "She can get better," he said, "but she needs peace." That's the doctor. "She can get better," he said, "but she needs peace." But the following morning, a terrible thing happened. One of the servant girls had gone to Gimmerton, and when she returned home, she came into the sitting room crying. "Miss Isabella is gone! She's gone! Mr. Heathcliff has run away with her." "That cannot be true," said Mr. Linton, standing up. "It cannot. What has given you that strange idea? Nelly, please, go to look for her." It is," replied the girl. "I met a boy on the road. He brings me the milk here. He said that last night he was on the road not long after midnight, and he saw Mr. Heathcliff and Miss Isabella in a carriage 2 miles away from Gimmerton. The woman had a big coat and a hat on, but he knew it was Miss Linton. Then the carriage drove away quickly, Everyone's talking about it in Gimmerton. I ran straight away in Isabella's room, but she wasn't there. I found Mr. Linton sitting by Catherine's bed while his wife slept. When he looked up and saw my face, he knew he did not have to ask where his sister was. Shall we try to follow her and bring her back? I asked, but Mr. Linton shook his head. No, he said. She chose to go. We will not talk about her again. Right, so that's the end of chapter 6. And chapter 7 is going to be very interesting. Catherine's last goodbye. Oh my God, that's going to be a sad chapter. But anyway, wow, quite a lot happening in this chapter. Tell me what you think. What's your instant feeling about this chapter? So Heathcliff is back and he's a new man, a gentleman with money. We don't have much information on how he managed to get rich. Maybe trade or business somehow. Isabel was 11 years old. Wait, when she married Heathcliff? No, 18. She was 18 years old. No, otherwise she would have been too young. Even though sometimes it happens, but no, she was 18. So Heathcliff is back, but he is back to get revenge, to have his revenge against Hindley and also against Catherine for not wanting him being poor or being a farm worker, and now he's vengeful and he wants to hurt. Yeah, she was young. Yeah, 18. I mean, it's the same age. Yeah, same for Catherine. They were both quite young when they got married. And it seems like Heathcliff wants to make Catherine pay for marrying someone else than him. So a lot of anger is with Heathcliff, and he's ready to marry anyone, and it happens that Isabella is in love with him, and but does Heathcliff really loves Isabella? That's another question. That's also something that it's not that the text doesn't say that the text doesn't say here, but we can sort of guess that that is not really in love with her, but it's more to make Catherine jealous because of what he's saying in page 35. I'm not your husband, so you can't stop me. You have betrayed me, Catherine. And if you think that I don't know it, then you're stupid. You can't trick me with your sweet words. I will get my revenge on you. So yeah, Heathcliff has not moved on at all. And actually, he is just back to prove Catherine wrong, that she was wrong, that um, that he could become a gentleman. Watch me if I'm not gonna get rich. So yeah, it's quite dark um, and manipulative as well here. So I'm gonna leave you on this reflection on the chapter. And if you've got time, answer the question that I will ask you in the post of the replay of this live. And it would be interesting to know more about your thoughts. I would love to know what you think about this chapter in the comments. Please leave me a message, and I will see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Hopefully, I might, yeah, depends on traffic, but let's say 6 and onwards. So thank you so much. Yay. Thank you so much and have a beautiful evening. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Bye.